Once upon a time, there was a little girl. She was, in some ways, academically inclined. She seemed to fare fairly well in school, but her true heart found joy in extracurricular activities. She was the sort of kid who would sign up for everything: public speaking, debates, music, drama, spelling bees, well, everything except sports. And she also competed on behalf of a school. Sometimes she won, sometimes she didn't. So one day, right after a debate competition in which she didn't do quite well, one of her teachers came to her and he said, "You know, you are a jack of all trades, but master of none, Ruchi." Oops. Yes, this is my story. And at the time, I was only 12 years old, a mere sixth grader. And to me, those words felt like a dagger straight through my heart. To me, they meant, "Ruchi, you are not good enough. Ruchi, you need to try harder. And in fact, you need to be the very best at least something." Over time, I started to internalize the idea that being Jack would not be good enough. So for this next bit of the story, I don't quite recall the timeline. But it was probably around the same time as that incident, if not a couple years later. We were all in India on a family trip. We were all seated at a dinner table, surrounded by close friends and relatives. It was a dinner table filled with adults and kids alike. And as it usually happens in such gatherings, the adults wanted to know what we kids wanted to become once we grow up. My goodness, for someone who didn't even think beyond today or tomorrow, this was such a difficult question. I had no idea what I wanted to be. And maybe this uncertainty was so apparent in my face that one of my uncles, who we lovingly called Ayyar Chacha, whispered to me, "Rani Bansu Bana." And what an incredible idea, right? To be someone who is just and fair, someone who was well regarded, who commanded the love and respect of everybody. I just love the idea, so I jumped without even hesitating for a second. I announced, "I want to become a queen." And since then, until the age of 16, while secretly I probably still wanted to become a queen, I also knew that that was not a realistic aspiration. And when the time came for me to decide between the commerce, science, and art dilemma, I chose science. Since then, till the age of 18, there were many things I wanted to become. This was one of the most challenging phases of my life, especially as I turned 18. There were times when I wanted to be an astronaut, sometimes an aeronautical engineer. There were times I'd say, "I want to be a scientist." And then times when I even said I wanted to become an air hostess. My parents, who are smiling at me right now, weren't very happy with me back then. But much encouragement and a lot of persuasion later, I did end up enrolling into an engineering college to pursue my degree in electronics and communications engineering. Now, the skills I learned during those years, 4 years in engineering, are quite questionable, especially when it comes to engineering and technical skills. But what I did confidently come away with was some skills that were very marketable and valuable. I understood the value of logical thinking. I understood the value of persistence and resourcefulness. I knew I had to be able to think on my feet, but most importantly, I understood that I needed to embrace a problem-solving mindset. Now, many of you seated here, some in the workforce, some students, will still attest to the fact that these are the core skills that will define how you prosper in the workforce. I ended up getting a job towards the end of my college with an IT consulting firm. But even as I was graduating, a question that came to my mind was, am I still not just a jack of all trades and master of none? And 2 years after working for the IT consulting firm in India, I decided engineering was never probably my true calling. So I pivoted, and I decided to pursue my master's in public relations and corporate communications from New York University. and my goodness, was that a good decision? The fascinating and the charismatic world of public relations pulled me right in. It was there, within those 2 years of master's course, that I was made to realize that versatility was something I needed to embrace. Within a short period of time, I was expected to be a writer, a speaker, a negotiator, a media trainer, an advocate, an advisor, and so on and so forth. All of a sudden, I started questioning, is having multiple skills and not being the perfect best master at any of those really such a limitation? Could it not be my strength? And now, this is where the most important character of my story comes in, the philosopher. Many of you might have heard the name of the Greek philosopher, Socrates. Socrates is someone who is regarded as the creators of Western philosophy. And this man, when he described the word areta, which was known as a word that described virtue, excellence, and living up to one's potential, he redefined it. He said excellence was not a destination. Excellence was about constant pursuit. And that really resonated with me. And that is probably why I ended up choosing the name Areta for our public relations firm, because today, striving for the better in pursuit of excellence is exactly what I strive for. Today, as a public relations professional, as a founder, and an entrepreneur, I wear many hats. I embrace many responsibilities. Besides being a writer, a strategic advisor, sometimes a counsel for my clients, sometimes a shoulder to cry on, I am also an HR person. I am a recruiter. I am someone who looks after my employees and manages relationships with them. I am simultaneously a mother, a wife, a daughter, a sister-in-law, a daughter-in-law, and so many other roles. And am I really the best at them? No, but I keep trying. I am also a curious podcast host, a proud representation of women in leadership, and I'm also now a fervent advocate for medical research around a lesser-known chronic illness called fibromyalgia. Down the line, I will keep adopting more roles. And today, there's one thing that I firmly believe in, thanks to Socrates, is that I don't need to be a Jack or a Jill. I don't even want to become a queen. I want to become a constant learner. I want to be someone who absorbs lessons from every success I've had and every failure I will have. So what would I tell the 12-year-old Ruchi and everybody seated here today? Please, let's see excellence as a pursuit. Please, let's not see it as arriving, but about striving. Let's all embrace our versatility, our adaptability. Let's remain forever curious. Because even if you are the best at something, someone better will eventually come along. Being a master is just a relative concept. Today, I'll admit, before coming here today, I was questioning, am I even qualified to be taking the stage and talking words of wisdom with everyone? But then I reminded myself that it wasn't about mastering the skill. This too was an opportunity for me to learn, to grow, and to share. Thank you so much, and as they say in Nepali, सुन्नेलाई सुनको माला, भन्नेलाई फुलको माला, यो कथा वैकुण्ठ जाला, अनि भन्ने बेलामा खुरु खुरु फर्केर आउला. Thank you.